Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. So, quick update on me. I know a lot of you guys have been checking in and asking about, family situation, and we're working through it. Appreciate everybody. Today was a tough day, but we're fighting through, and appreciate all the prayers and well wishes to my family. That does not go unnoticed. But just getting back to what we focus on this channel and content, just trying to get stuff out for you guys in terms of my thoughts. We had the Tom Herman press conference today, and we've had now two Texas Longhorn players opt out and elect for the NFL draft in Sam Cosmi and Caden Stern. So we're going to be touching on that in today's video. I want to start by saying this: please like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate all the likes that have been coming our way and the new subscribers to the channel. If you're new to the channel, welcome to Fanatic Perspective. Hopefully you enjoy what we have to say and some of the things that I touch on and just kind of how I think. But getting to so for those of you, again, like the video, I'll share with your friends. Getting to the Tom Herman press conference today, it was like dead man walking. And now I felt like Saturdays was sad because it was the emotion of the loss to Iowa State and just what that meant, and seeing Tom realize this kind of real time. But today, I mean, he kind of just went into deflect mode. He did mention that he spoke with Chris Del Conte a couple times this weekend and said they had productive conversations. Other than that, he really didn't give any insight to his future. There was a lot of tough questions asked, some ridiculous questions asked about Sam Cosmi, which I'll get to later. But in regards to Tom Herman himself, just about his future and where he's at, and the non-answers and the I'm focusing on Kansas State kind of tells you everything you need to know in terms of just where we stand and just the sheer awkwardness of the situation. So I can see why a lot of people are just lobbying to say, hey, if Texas has their mind made up, or if things are there with Urban Meyer or whoever the next head coach will be at the University of Texas, then why not just let Tom go and go with the buyout now? I think there's a lot of logistics to that, and I've been one to say, and if whoever is your guy, if it's Urban Meyer's your guy, it needs to be 1,000% in stone before you fire Tom Herman. Because again, dealing with that particular person, I don't trust him, and he can renege at the 11th hour, and then Texas will really be screwed. And in regards to Tom Herman, if things don't work out, I still think he should be the head coach next year. If you can't go in another direction, you don't have a choice. So you have to be Texas. Chris Del Conte in particular has to be very, very smart and wise with how he navigates this situation. But I do trust him to make the right call and make the right call for Texas. Now, in terms of interesting things, the most interesting things for me was the injury report, because he said that, so we know Jalen Green got hurt during the game, high ankle sprain, he's questionable, sounds like doubtful to play from Tom Herman's tone. Keontae Ingram, high ankle sprain, also sounds, they said questionable. That sounds doubtful when they're like, he's going to try to run. You know how that goes. The one that was surprising was Derek Kerstetter, because they said that kind of popped up after the game. He's now in a boot, also has a high ankle sprain. So now you could potentially be Kansas State without Sam Cosmi and Derek Kerstetter, who's your center. So we're talking about Jake Majors, potentially playing center. What they decide to do with Christian Jones at right tackle, if they move him to left, or if they bring in Carrick or Reese Moore or Tyler Johnson. Like, there's a lot of potential options there for guys to fill in and for us to potentially see the future of the offensive line, which to me at this point, with 2020 kind of being done with our season, I'm kind of excited to see what we got and start to make some evaluations there and let those guys get themselves on tape so they can try to get better going into next season. Because right now, for me, as a fan, everything that happens needs to happen in regards to 2021. Now, let's get to the two players in terms of the opt-out. I want to start with Sam Cosmi, since he was the first one that we kind of heard about this past weekend after the game. And a lot of people, I mentioned all those names, and we've been talking about Samuel Cosmi, um, those guys replacing him. But this is a guy who came into our program as a 3-star. In 2017, he was honored on Senior Day. He's going to graduate from the University of Texas. He's a guy who has been a starter the last 3 years and has played at a very, very high level. Has been graded well across the country from everybody that follows offensive line productivity, and somebody who is very highly regarded. So I'm trying to mess around with this camera angle. Very highly regarded in the scouting community, the NFL scouting community. So Samuel Cosmi decided to make the jump, where he's right now projected, depending on what mocks or what draft analysts you follow, as a potential first or second round pick. I know Mel Kiper has him as the second overall tackle on his board, high praise. We saw there was, 3 or 4 tackles that went in the top 15 picks this past draft. So you start to do the math on the type of money and the opportunity that he has. We had a guy here a couple years ago, Connor Williams, who was also projected to be a first-round pick, came back to school, and was, even projected by some to be an All-American, and got hurt. I think it was the Maryland game, if I'm not mistaken. He got hurt and, came back, tried to play it out, and started to struggle with, some of his tape, and ended up slipping to the second round to the Dallas Cowboys. So, and now he doesn't even play tackle anymore. He's a guard now. So, in my opinion, I think Samuel Cosmi made an excellent business decision. Hear me out. He made an excellent business decision to protect his future and say, you know what, our goal coming back here, because people forget he also did submit to the advisory board to get a potential grade and to see, okay, what's my draft status look like for the 2020 draft, right? So him coming back to school, getting better, putting more tape in. It was a loaded tackle class last year. Now you're seeing he's potentially the second tackle off the board. I think overall it's a good decision. He's healthy. There's nothing else left to play for. Like I just said at the beginning of the video, we're playing for 2021 at this point. So I want to address a few things because we've been complaining about development in this program. We've been complaining about the lack of first-round picks, which then hurts us in recruiting because we don't have the skins on the wall, the credibility there. I'm confused as to why people are frustrated. When I say people, I'm talking about fans, are frustrated with this young man's decision to leverage the COVID rules that are in place, because we forget that these college football players were playing football in the middle of a pandemic, a global pandemic, for our entertainment, by the way. We just could have not had sports, but we do, and we're having sports, and they're playing for us. But in the moment somebody wants to make a decision for the betterment of their own future, now y'all want to weigh in. But more on that in a bit. But I'm confused with Sam Cosmi in particular because we haven't had a first-round pick since Malcolm Brown in 2015. So by the time 2021 draft rolls around, I'm talking about 6 years. We haven't had an offensive lineman go in the first round since 2002, Mike Williams. The damn Brockermeyers weren't even born yet. Like think about some of what we're talking about here that Sam Cosmi has the opportunity to accomplish here. And even if he goes the second round, the money's still good, and I still think it's a good decision. But I think he's good enough and he's healthy enough, and he'll work out well. He has the bullish offensive lineman mentality. He'll interview great. Somebody will fall in love with him. I do think he'll be one of the top 32 picks. But I'm just confused. Like, we've been talking about getting people to the league and development and like getting this credibility, and then here's the opportunity, and now people are mad. And so that's just was kind of perplexing. And it's like, you're mad about that when you should be mad about Iowa State. Like, and when I say mad, like, you got people out here calling him and Caden Stearns, I'll get to Caden Stearns, calling them quitters, and, they should get their scholarships pulled, and they're selfish. Wow. The nerve of some of you to call people selfish when we want to talk about people opting out of the season. How about when you guys, so many people came on this channel and opted out of the season before the Baylor game, after we lost to OU. And I think there was a bye in between there. And my memories, I got a lot of stuff going on in my life right now, so excuse me my memory if I don't remember if we had a bye in between. I think we had a bye in between Oklahoma and Baylor. And that whole, week and a half or whatever, people coming on the channel talking about, well, I want Texas to lose so we can get rid of Tom Herman and fire the coach. Like then. So people were already opting out of the season then. So I don't want to hear from any of those people that were rooting against Texas, but then you get mad when a player wants to leave for the betterment of the future, or you try to parlay that into, well, you see, these kids are already giving up on Tom Herman, blah, 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 when it's actually happening all over the country. And this isn't a fan thing unique to Texas, by the way. This is just a fan thing in general that's really been annoying to watch play out, particularly on social media, because you see Terrace Marshall of LSU, he opted out this past weekend after they lost to A&M. They don't have anything else left to play for. They're playing two freshman quarterbacks that can barely get the ball to them. He's like, you know what, I'm good. I'm still healthy. Let me go get my money. I've done enough for this school. I just came back from surgery last year and won you guys a national championship in January of this year. And I'm a quitter? I opted in during a pandemic, and you're calling me a quitter. Interesting takes. But it's okay. It's okay for the fans to just say, you know what, I'm out on the season, or because I want to get rid of the coach. Regardless, I was frustrated. A lot of us were frustrated with the coach. That doesn't automatically mean I want the team to lose. And it damn sure doesn't give me the right to say that somebody is quitting on their teammates. Have you talked to Sam Cosmi's teammates? Have you talked to Caden Stern's teammates? Has anybody? People talking about, I would never quit on anything in my life. Really? You never quit on a relationship, a job, school? Never quit anything? Okay. I'm not condoning quitting, but this is not quitting. Okay? The season is over. You are protecting your investment. It is not difficult to understand, because you guys aren't going to be there for Sam Cosmi or Caden Stearns. Let's use Sam Cosmi as an example. When somebody rolls up on his ankle in Kansas State, he doesn't have any more home games left. So he's got to go play two. And when I say meaning, I'm talking about like insignificant football games for the goal. Their goal, everybody's goal was to win the Big 12. That goal has passed. So that's what I'm saying. If you want to be mad about something, be mad that we didn't accomplish the goal and we lost to Iowa State. And the season, in terms of winning anything of meaning, is over. You still have people saying, well, let's go and lose to Kansas State so we can get rid of the coach. But then you're still mad about the players out there. I don't understand this logic. I think it's selfish of a fan to not try to understand why a kid would make that decision and counsel with his family and understand what's before him. A dream, a lifelong dream that so few people have an opportunity to pursue. I think it's selfish as a fan to not even try to understand that. Either you can't comprehend it for lack of understanding or brain cells or whatever, or you're selfish and you really don't care about that person's future. You really don't care. Because if you really cared and you could understand, hey, if this guy gets, like we have tons of examples of dudes getting hurt in bowl games and in exhibition games and whatever. And now with the COVID stuff, this is not a normal season, and I do think us not playing the Kansas game, because remember, we were supposed to play Kansas before Iowa State, before COVID happened, because it's still happening. If we had played that game, we're only talking about then one game potentially that they miss, because who knows if we have any type of bowl season to begin with and how that would play out. You're seeing bowls drop like crazy. But in regards to just how this whole thing looks, our season might look different if we play Kansas. Now, if you want to say, if somebody opted out during the season when everything was still on the line, and I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get my notes back up here. when everything was still on the line, and we're in the middle of a conference title race or a playoff race, and you don't see people opting out at Bama during the season, or Clemson or Notre Dame. But once you're out of contention, and here's the other thing why it's not selfish. I just said we're trying to go for 2021. To me, it'd be productive for Texas to find out if Andre Carrick can play. I need to find out if Tyler Johnson can play. Now I got 2 games of some free reps to see what I got. And if they go out there and win those games and they play well and get some confidence up, isn't that beneficial for Texas long term? If Samuel Cosmi goes out and becomes a first-round pick and we get off the board, all the stats I just mentioned about Mike Williams and Malcolm Brown, we get off the board and Sam Cosmi is now that one that we have, potentially 2 if Joseph Osai decides to go. Doesn't that help Texas? Isn't that what's being worked against us so hard in recruiting right now? So why are you guys against that? Now, in regards to Caden Stearns, and this is where I'll finish off here. I support Caden Stearns, 1,000%. I support Caden Stearns. And here's the thing. And I want this to be one of the takeaways from my message. I'm not saying you have to agree with somebody leaving the school to go to the draft. What I mean by that is, I don't think Caden Stearns is making I don't agree with the decision he's making to enter the draft. I think he needs another year. I think Samuel Cosmi is where he needs to be, and he's maximized it, and I'm cool with him leaving. It has nothing to do with whether or not they're sticking it out for their brothers and all this fake macho BS that people are trying to, forecast out here. And it's a lot of the old heads, honestly. It's a lot of the old heads, because people keep saying, well, my generation, and I'm sorry to go off on another tangent, but my generation, this will never happen, and blah, blah, blah. Well, one of the things is, you guys, and I said my elders and all you guys that are out there, you always tell people, learn from our experiences instead of going through your own. Like, learn and get better. Like, that's part of why we should always advance as a civilization, right? Like, I see what somebody did before, I look at what they did well, I look at what they did wrong, and I try to avoid the landmines. Well, some of those landmines is getting hurt in games that don't matter, and that's why dudes are starting to, dudes are smarter now. And college football, by the way, is a multi-billion-dollar business. So I'm never going to get mad at somebody for making a business decision within a multi-billion-dollar business to get their millions. Okay? And the scholarship people, as if you guys as fans, like, as if I have any say on what people's scholarship money looks like. It's silly. It's silly. But I have no problem if you say, you know what, I don't think the kid should leave because he's not ready yet. Because that's where I'm at with Caden Stearns. I don't think he should leave. But now that he's leaving, I support him. And I support his decision. Now, I was really puzzled, and it caught me off guard. I'm like, why is this brother leaving? He's not playing well. He's not healthy. He hasn't put out great tape. But the more I've thought about it, and I haven't talked to anybody about this. This is just Steve's insights. And I could be way off. Somebody wants to tell me, let me know. He's taken a lot of body blows here at Texas. And what do I mean by that? He has been banged up since the middle of his freshman year. He's currently battling turf toe. Last year was a knee issue. He's had leg issues. He's had a lot of issues here at Texas. And I feel like at some point, dudes are like, you know what? If I'm going to continue to have these issues with my body, I might as well get paid for it. I might as well do it at the highest level and take advantage while I still can. So that line of thinking would make sense to me. The line of thinking of Caden Stearns was very highly regarded as a safety. A lot of people had him as a potential first round pick after his freshman year. He was a big 5-star recruit, out of the San Antonio area, and when he came from Steele, and was, picked off Trevor Lawrence, as many remember, in the Army All-American game. So all that upside was there. And then he came into Texas and he had a fantastic first impression. And first impressions do matter, because one of the things the NFL is a very smart group of people. I think one of the things the NFL will start to evaluate is were Caden Stearns struggles beyond that Caden Stearns problems, or was it scheme issue? Was it Texas? Because he did have to play in multiple schemes, and he did have to play multiple positions, and it was a while before they kind of got him back around where he was supposed to be. Now, here's the things we do know about Caden Stearns that will sell well to the NFL. He's a great leader. He's a great locker room guy. He's very, very intelligent, and he does have good measurables and a skill set when healthy in terms of the physical. Now, workouts, because, Tran and I were texting earlier, and Tran's like, Caden right now, last 2 years, has 4th, 5th round tape. Like, why go? I think that's very, very valid. And I was the one that said, right now, he looks like a decent box safety. However, first impressions matter because the NFL can look at it and say, freshman year, that's 1st round tape. And those instincts don't go away. We feel like we have a coach on our staff that can get the best out of them. You also factor in the credibility of recent Texas DBs. Hello, Deshaun Elliott and Brandon Jones, who also played under Tom Herman recently, both underdrafted. And now if you did a redraft for both, they're both starters in the league playing very well. Brandon Jones just had his first sack against the Jets this past weekend. Deshaun Elliott's been terrific for the Baltimore Ravens. So credibility starts to matter in terms of, okay, when these guys get in our program, there's specific skill set here we can leverage right away, and maybe we can get a steal here. I do think Caden can probably, I'm going to say this, do not be surprised if he goes 3rd round or higher. After everything's said and done, I'm talking about workouts, interviews, because look at how the stories of Brandon Jones interviewing at the Combine and the preparation he put into. Those are rare traits. And so as much as even Brandon Jones struggled his last couple years at times, and it wasn't as bad as what we're going through right now with Caden Stearns. But I understand the line of thinking in making and coming and making a business decision. He's an adult, very smart young man, great family. I don't agree with the decision. I would have, if my 2 cents mattered, because it doesn't, especially to him, I would advise him to come back to school and put another year of tape up. But the same token, I get it. And again, this is a young man's dream, right? And it's something that they want to take advantage of. The other thing is this. I'm seeing people getting mad at Caden Stearns again, but these are the same people that come out on the chat talk about he needed to be benched, and we want to see other safeties. So why is he selfish if that's literally what he's going to give you now? Look at all because both of we're fortunate, the 2 people that opt out are both at positions where we have a lot of people we need to evaluate. Let's talk about safety. We just talked about in the last couple videos, right? I was just talking about hey, now, what do you do there? You can go, there's a lot of different options, whether it's BJ Foster, Tyler Owens, Jaron Thompson, Xavier Alford. It's a lot of different people that we can potentially evaluate. So this isn't bad news. I'm happy for the kid. I want the best of luck for him. Hopefully the brother can get healthy and work out well and interview well. Same with Sam Cosmi. Moving forward with the people that are now here, 2021 in mind, starting with Kansas State. I'm looking at this it's kind of like when you go into a bowl game, right? Like when you go into a bowl game, what happens? You start to work out people, play people that haven't necessarily played all year, and see what they got, right? Now it's interesting because Sam Ehlinger is still here, and Tom Herman did shoot that down in the press conference of, hey, should we consider working out a Casey Thompson or Hudson Card to the game? And he said, Sam's 3-year starter and blah, blah, blah. I totally respect that line of thought where he's coming from. Now, if I was a coach, I would consider doing that because, again, if this is his last year definitively, and I know that behind the scenes, I need to start seeing what other people have and want to get the tape. That's just my line of thinking. But that doesn't come with job security either. That only comes with job security, I should say. Tom Herman doesn't have that. Tom Herman also, look at the way he, what the hell is that in the back? Get out of here. Tom Herman also chimed in on both of the, or not Caden Stearns, but look at the social media of the Texas Longhorns. As soon as those guys announced, what was the social? Did Texas football go on and say they're quitters, or did they go on and say, "Hook 'em, congrats to lifetime Longhorns, best of luck to you in the NFL"? Tom Herman was asked, I think, straight up, did he try to talk Sam Cosmi into coming back? And he was like, not really. Like, he's good. So I'm just hearing so many strong opinions from people who have no idea what's happening behind the scenes. And if you pay attention to any of the communication and how guys are congratulatory on social media, I remember this happening with Stanford and Christian McCaffrey, and the person that took over, I believe, was Bryce Love, and he ended up running for 2,000 yards. But I remember when he sat out, I think it was this. There were people getting mad because he didn't want to play in the Sun Bowl, and they're like, he's quitting on his brothers and all this type of stuff. And all his brothers, you know what all the brothers on the team were saying? Christian, go get that bag. You got a chance, bro. You're healthy. We good. We got it from here. Go get that bag. We got Bryce up next. And that should be the energy in the Texas locker room. Some of these brothers should be excited with the opportunity they're about to get. Andre Carrick, Reese Moore, Jake Majors, Xavier Alford, Jared Thompson, BJ Foster, whoever else you want to name that might be up next. Go get that bag, Caden. Go get that bag. Sam, good job. Your work here is done. Now it's time for us to step up. So that's my energy to the program. I'm not. It's not deeper than that. They're not quitting. They're leaving Tom Herman in the dust and all this type of stuff. But then y'all want to quit Tom Herman during the Baylor game. And I'm sorry, this is a little ranty, and I don't like making those type of videos. But I'm always be real with y'all and shoot you straight. That's it. I'll be back with Tran later this week for the K-State preview. I'm sorry this video is all over the place, but as I said, I'm in an emergency situation, and still making videos, just trying to get how I feel out there. So appreciate y'all. I will make a video about UT basketball. They did win today against Davidson. I did watch the game. They're playing IU tomorrow, as IU beat Providence earlier for the Maui Invitational. That's not in Maui. And we'll talk about that after the tournament is over. And I'll share my thoughts, a lot of good thoughts. If you follow me on Twitter, I talk a lot of UT basketball on Twitter, so that's another reason to follow me. Links in the description. Make sure you hit the like button. Appreciate y'all. Sorry for a lengthier video, but it was a lot to cover. And let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. Peace. And remember, horns always up. Love y'all.